2012 Jeep Wrangler, front brake pads and rotors. All right. First thing you need to do is jack it up and support it. Remove your front tires. Mine, the lug nuts are 3/4, 19. All right. So what you need to do is remove your caliper. Caliper has 2 bolts on it. Right here, these are 13s. You need to take them out. Sometimes your slide pins will spin with your bolt. Get a pair of needle nose vice grips or a wrench to fit on there and hold them. And then what you need to do is go ahead and pry the caliper off just a little bit with the little pry bar. Get in there like so and pry it up. And if you want, you can go over here off to the side if you got a flat like this one and just push the piston in just a little bit. All right. So you get it up and there it is. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is go ahead and push your piston back in on your brake caliper. But you want to look at your brake caliper, make sure it's not leaking or having any torn boots or anything melted on it. It's got a plastic piston. So what I use is a C-clamp and an old pad, and I'll push it in, and I'll actually be able to tell if this piston's frozen or not by how hard it is to push in. If it goes in fairly easy, like I'm pushing fluid, then it's fine. If you have any question, you can always remove the 16mm banjo bolt off the back. Mine pushed in fairly easy. And also what you want to do is you also want to inspect it to see if you pushed out any fluid past your boot when you push the piston in. All right, so mine looks pretty decent. So far, it looks good. All right. I just clean up a little bit with some wire brush and some brake clean and then set it aside. Get it out of the way for now. So that's ready. So now what we need to do is remove the caliper bracket. And I'm using a 13/16 or even a 21mm socket to get on these 2 bolts. One here and one here. Then you can take the whole bracket off. Caliper bracket is off. Take the pads out and remove the abundant clips to hardware off of these. And then you want to clean those up. Get them nice and shiny. And then paint them. And then also take your caliper slide pins out. And if they're frozen, then you have to heat them up. Possibly get them out. Otherwise, you got to replace it. Take your boots out. Put some Silk Glide on them. Lube your pins. Don't pack this full of Silk Glide. You won't be able to compress it. Rub it on a pin and work the pin back and forth. All right, so you want this to look like this one when you're done. Also, remove your rotor. If the rotor's bonded on there, you have to put some pinching on it. Smack it with a hammer. The vibration will loosen it up. And also, right here you got your hub bearing. You need to get this all cleaned up. This is a stepped hub bearing. This is in further than the inner and the outer. So do not grind these down to match that. Clean them up. When you get them cleaned up, put a fine film of anti-seize on it. Before you put your rotors on. Before you put your rotors on, you want to wash your rotors with soap and water to get the shipping oil off of it. Okay, here's my hub. Before I put some anti-seize on it. Looks pretty good. Now I got my caliper brackets, got my hardware, abundant clips back on there. Make sure you put them back on there properly. If you have a hard time with them, push them on there this way and then use a little screwdriver. Pry the little tab over, make sure they sit flush. Get your rotor, make sure they're clean. Make sure you got anti-seize on the hub. All right, rotor is on there. I use some pair of vice grips to hold the rotor straight, just enough to crimp it. Got my bracket on, got my bolts snugged up, and I torque them to 120 foot-pounds. Next, you can put your brake pads in. You have this brake pad be the outside pad, no squeaker on it. There's no inner or outer except for the squeaker. Get it in there flat, best you can. Let's go here. It's not getting down in there. Come on, baby. There we go. Got it in there in the bottom, and then I got the top like that. And push it in. Now, the inside one, got a squeaker on it, and put the squeaker towards the rotation of the rotor. That's reverse. They're rotating this way. So, it will go on the bottom. Bottom. Same thing. Put the bottom in, and then push it down. Weasel it in there, and get it between the little clips, and push it in there. It's all set. Next, take your rotor, not your rotor, your caliper, swing it back over, make sure the line is not twisted, and push it in your little slide pins, get them over. And now I'm hitting that one, so now I gotta come over here and push that one in. Boom. All right, now I can put my bolts in, and you can tighten those to 28 foot-pounds. Okay, 28, 120. Okay, brakes are done. So now if you removed any of these sensor wires, you just go ahead and put them back in their fasteners. If you put a little lube on them, they'll go on there a little bit easier. All right, put these in there and that. If you took them out, do the other side exactly the same way, except it's on the other side. And then what you want to do is put your tires back on, lower it down to the ground, go inside the vehicle, start it up, push the pedal to the floor a couple times, make sure you're pushing those pistons in, and then I'm taking up the gap in the pads, making sure you got a good firm pedal. You want to do that before you take off, otherwise you won't have no brakes until you do pump it up. Okay, and then always double check your fluid level on your brake reservoir, and that will be it. And don't forget to torque your lug nuts to 100 foot-pounds. All right, if I helped you out this video, that's awesome. Hopefully you can help me out by subscribing to me, and I appreciate it. Thank you.